Okay, so I made another video before this that's going to include some of this stuff, but I thought I'd kind of break this out separately. And since I don't like editing, I'm just going to leave the information you hear now in the other video, which I'll post before this one. So drywall was delivered today, and so pre-drywall after your installation. Well, it doesn't even have to be after your installation, but certainly after electrical and plumbing and HVAC. So when your mechanicals are installed. Now I did this yesterday, so it was after installation. But once your mechanicals are in, you can do this. What I do is I go around and I mark where all the things in the wall, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and the walls and in the ceiling. So the reason I do that is drywallers tend to drywall over stuff, especially simple electrical boxes. But I mean, I've had them drywall over recessed lights. I mean, they're moving really quick. It's a low budget trade, so you got to move really fast to make a decent living at it, hanging the drywall. So so what I do is I go around and I mark everything. So like here I have a square, and then I put a slash, meaning it's on the wall. And what it is it's a heat vent, right? So it's a heat or a supply air register, and then it's on the wall. It's not on the ceiling. So I put a line, meaning it's on the wall. This box here for the refrigerator, ice maker. That's a square here. I keep it fairly close to the wall, meaning it's not that far up. If it was something farther up, I make the mark back farther. The reason I put a slash here is, like I said, is to let me know that this box is on a wall and not on the ceiling. And then receptacles or outlets here. So this outlet is farther up. That's just a dot, but the dot is farther back from the wall. If it's an outlet that's closer to the floor, the standard height one that you would have in a room, which is what this is, for example, that dot will be next to the wall. Now I have two here, so because it's the kitchen, so one's for the oven, and then one's for just the 110. Okay, but I put two dots. This one's up here. Again, the dot's away from the floor. It's one dot. That's just the system that I use. You can come up with your own system, but this is simple. It's easy to remember, at least for me. Recessed light can on the ceiling gets a circle. Recessed light can. All these recessed light cans. And you don't have to put exactly where they are, but I get it close. And that way, if somebody covers something up, I'll know. Okay, it's around here somewhere. All right. I mean, I could be off by a foot or so in either direction, but at least it's reasonably close. Yeah, so I went around the entire house and did that before they stocked the drywall, because now, of course, the drywall is laying on top of some of them. Here, it's an outlet, and the dot is close to the wall because it's the standard height for an outlet. Anyway, yeah, I mean that's kind of what I do. Trying to see. Yeah, so here I got three. There's going to be switches. So that's three dots. Switches are up higher, so that's pulled back from the wall. This again is a wall. Let's see, this is the supply air. That's a return air, because I always do a separate return air for the master bedroom. So that gets a square here. If this was on the ceiling, if these return or supply airs were on the ceiling, this would simply be a square, and there wouldn't be any line. The line just shows what wall it's on. Again, more is here and here, so dot dot. These two are up high. I always do a high and low for in case somebody either has a TV that sits on a stand or they want a wall hung. So I do a high and low, and that way if they have a wall hung, you don't have wires hanging down the wall. Your cable TV and your data, which is telephone data, Cat 5. I use Cat 5 wire. So yes, I do that here, and also in the in the family would do the same thing. I always do high and low. It doesn't cost that much more, and that way they can either have a wall-hung TV or one that sits on a stand. And if they have wall-hung, the wires aren't hanging down, so you don't see wires hanging. Anyway, yeah, so I go around the whole house. Vanity lights here. So vanity lights, I just do as a circle. It lets me know what kind of box it is. And again, it's on the wall, so it gets aligned. Here's for the other vanity light because it's a double sink. This is master bath. Now, if you got a situation where maybe something's in a corner, or maybe there's one here and one here, or whatever, so I do a dot that's back farther because this is up higher. This is where the vanity is. And then I do a line that lets me know, okay, that this dot is for something on this wall, not something on this wall. You know, if there's an area where it might be a little confusing, because once it's drywall now, you're not going to be able to look, right? So you have to kind of know where stuff is. I even in the one over the bathtub, I put the circle here because this cardboard stays. I always line my tubs with cardboard. It protects the bottom of the tub. After the drywallers are done, I'll go and I'll check underneath if any screws or nails fell under that got trapped between the cardboard and the tub, because it could scratch the tub when other people come in here and start working. Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of my little system. Works really good. I don't really remember ever meeting another builder that does this. I'm not saying there aren't any, but it's just something I kind of made up myself years ago after getting electrical stuff covered up. I had a house at one time where 8 things got covered up. It was a huge house. It was 6,000 square foot. But the point is, like, 8 things got covered up. That was many, many years ago. So after that, it's just like, that's enough, you know. So I came up with this little system. I suggest you do it. Take the time. I've got I buy marking paint, which is the one that we hold the can upside down. But I bought this little cheap thing for, I don't know, $10. So you don't have to bend over. You know, you just here, you squeeze this little trigger here. I don't want to do it because it'll make a paint mark on the floor. Yeah, and then the paint comes out, you know, down here now, the end of the can. And then what I do is, before I pay any money out, usually with drywallers, like I pay for the drywall and then my guy pays for everything else. If you want to hire a company that does, if you don't know how to count sheets of drywall, it's not that easy to do, to figure out how many sheets you're going to need. It's not that simple. So if you don't, I mean, you can learn it. I figured it out myself. But if you're going to hire a company that does everything, I still come in and do, you know, where they include the drywall, I still come in and I do this before, because they're not going to do it. Okay, they don't do this. They should, but they don't. But I buy the drywall and then I just pay a guy. He does that. He brings the hangers to hang, and then he does the taping and texturing, or him and his guys. But a separate crew for hanging. But anyway, the point is these guys don't do this stuff. So it's just something you should do before drywall comes in. At some point before drywall, like I said, after you get all your mechanicals in, then you know where everything is. You can do it. I also take a picture of my plumbing walls here in the kitchen, and then in the bathrooms and all. I take a picture of each of them. So when I'm installing the cabinets, so when I go to install cabinets, this is your cabinet blocking here for your lower cabinets, and this is your upper cabinet blocking here for the top and bottom of the upper cabinets. Bathroom, you'd only have lowers where your vanity is. I just take a picture, and that way there's a reference where stuff is. I got nail plates on everything. I make sure everything is nail plated. If the plumbers miss one, I go around. You can buy these nail plates online, or you can buy them at the hardware store. They come like 2.5 inch. And these are 4.5 inch. I got some are 6 inch. They come in different lengths. They also come in these big plates, but plumbers like to use these. To me, they're overkill. But anyway, yeah. So make sure everything's plated, because when you go to put your cabinets up and you go to screw into the wall, you want to make sure that you're not going to hit anything. So I always do that, and I don't just rely on what the plumbers do. Electricians also do it. They usually use the smaller ones. They didn't need to here, but sometimes they need to, because the wire's too close to the stud. Even if they drill it, if it's too close, and a drywall screw could reach it. But anyway, yeah. So here it's all, everything's recorded, so that way when I go to hang cabinets, or if I hire a cabinet guy to hang the cabinet, install the cabinets, they kind of know where everything is. So they can avoid it. Or if there's a bunch of nail plates like here, I've got all solid. This is all because they ran the plumbing. They should have ran it up higher. You don't run the plumbing at the same height as it's here where your cabinets get secured. It was a mistake on their part. I caught it after they had it all in. and they're ready to leave, and I'm like, okay. But anyway, so it's a lot of nail plate. This is all nail plated from here all the way across. So, I'm going to have to figure out a way to secure the cabinets in this area here, because usually it's just maybe one thing here, one thing there. You still got plenty of surface to secure the cabinets. Anyway, yeah, so take pictures. It helps, but this is the big thing, marking. I use paint because it's easy to see. It doesn't come off. You can't get it off if you try, so which is good. And so before I pay, like I was saying, before I cut off on another tangent, before I pay, I walk through the whole house and I look at everything on the floor, and then I find it either on the wall or on the ceiling. And because of my system, I know what I'm looking at. So I'll go around and make sure nothing's covered, because sometimes it's hard to get guys to come back. I mean, it's not that they won't come back. Maybe some guys won't. I mean, if you're a one-time builder and they're not going to see you again, I don't know. I don't want to get into that whole subject. But anyway, it's just easier. Just go through, make sure nothing's covered, because you don't want to find out later. You don't want to find out after the walls they're painted, they're textured. Your electrician comes. He goes, well, there's supposed to be an outlet here. So you put a level on the wall, and now there's a big bulge in the drywall because it's over an electrical box or over a ceiling fixture. Then now you got to try to find exactly where it is, and it's just a headache, right? So it's easier to take care of it now. So I'll do a complete walkthrough when the guys are done hanging. They've got the house cleaned out. All the scraps out, the floor swept, and I come through and I make sure that everything that I've got on the floor I can either find on the wall or on the ceiling. Make sure nothing's covered. It's a real good idea. Anyway, I think that's kind of it on this little subject. Your nail plates, anything, crooked studs, if there's any studs that warped after you installed them, I use like a 6-foot level, especially where your cabinets are going to be. Make sure there is, and if there is, I repair them. You can cut them. One of the tricks to straightening a warp stud, is you cut it down at an angle like this with your circular saw, not all the way through. And you start here and you come down maybe about here, and then you'll take it, you'll crack it so you can straighten it, and then you can nail in, because you've got you've cut at an angle here, so you can nail through, you can straighten it, and then you can put a few nails in, it'll hold it. Or you can put another maybe a 3-foot piece next to it or something. You can also do it that way. But I'll go through and do that. I'll check for crooked studs. Like I said, especially on cabinet walls. I think that's it. That's kind of what I do before drywall, because once the drywall is up, it's too late. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, back to work.